Keeping up with the Joneses panels. Let me introduce you to Sam Jones, a.k.a. Flash Gordon, and Doug Jones, a.k.a. my favorite role in Hocus Pocus, Billy the Zombie, and also Silver Surfer. So, why don't you gentlemen tell us a little bit about yourselves and your careers, and what you like most in life?
Yeah, go ahead, Doug.
I want to sum that up quickly. Hi, everybody, hi. Oh, wow, you're so pretty. I'm a goofy, tall, skinny fellow. So I knew that when I went to Hollywood in 1985, I would have to be funny or scary, right? Because I don't look like this. So, right, he's the hot romantic lead, and I'm like the goofy sidekick. But I did not know that the creature effects makeup industry would take to me like they did. But with being 6'3.5" and 140 pounds, with a mime background, and I could also put my legs behind my head, so it made me a contortionist. So, flexible mime guy, tall, skinny. Of course, they wanted to stick makeups on me, right? So I discovered that doing TV commercials right off the bat. I did about 100 of those to date over the last 30 years. And but it was the Mac Tonight campaign for McDonald's, if you remember that. The crescent moon that they sang at the piano, when the clock struck, hey! That was me. And that kind of marked me as tall, skinny, goofy guy who moves well, wears a lot of crap on his face, and doesn't complain about it, which was a big one for the creature effects makeup industry. So that reputation kind of started becoming a referral process throughout the creature effects makeup people, not the usual casting channels. So I kind of skipped the casting directors a lot and got referred by creature effects makeup people, which was great. I owe them so much now. And because through them is how I met Guillermo del Toro, the director that I'm crazy about. In 1997, I was brought in to do some pickup shots for Mimic, the movie Mimic, as one of the group called Long Johns, big bug guys. From that, I met him. 5 years later, we did Hellboy 1 together, where I played H.C. being the Bluefish guy in the Hellboy movies. And then he brought me back for Hellboy 2, of course, and then 2 other characters. Meanwhile, between those 2 movies, we filmed Pan's Labyrinth, where I got to play the Faun and the Pale Man in the 6-time Oscar-nominated film. So very, 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 it was just a treat to be a part of that. So over the years, and now I'm about to start my 6th movie with him now, called The Shape of Water. It'll come out next year. And then meanwhile, I'm also on his TV series, The Strain, as a recurring vampire. I'm the leader of the Ancients. So I'll be returning August 28th in episode 1 of season 3, and then 2 more episodes to follow throughout the season. Also, I was a series regular on Fallen Skies for 3 years. If anybody's familiar with, I was the happy-go-lucky, the nice alien, Cochise, who helped the humans fight back the bad aliens in the show. And the list goes on and on over the years. Also, got other comic book genre things. I was also on a super villain Deathbolt on Arrow and the Flash last year. So, I've been around. That was with my own face, so I didn't have rubber on me for that one. So that kind of catches you up to here we are. Hey, and then we have other stuff coming up this year that you can look for besides The Strain. I'm also a couple of cameos in Ouija Part 2. Not proud of it, but
Tell us why you don't.
Because it's a cautionary tale, Sam. Yeah, you don't want to use the Ouija board. You don't know what you're opening up. You know. Right. When my mom was rolling in her grave, I did this movie. But I play 2 characters in a couple of scenes in the movie. One human, one not. You'll find out when you see it. And then on December 9th, I play the title character in a scary movie called The Bye-Bye Man. Comes out in theaters everywhere. December 9th, The Bye-Bye Man. That would be me. Yeah, and you'll find out why I'm The Bye-Bye Man. It's not happy at all. Yeah. So anyway, now Sam, go.
All right, that's fascinating to me. As you can see my reaction, I'm in awe of this. It's safe to say that you don't have to audition anymore. That the phone rings and they just give you the offer, and that's a huge deal in Hollywood, really. Who'd you study mime with?
The mime thing. I picked it up in college at Ball State University back in Indiana, where I grew up, and it was actually a self-taught mime troupe called Mime Over Matter. So we kind of taught ourselves. And, do you remember the old show Shields and Yarnell?
Yes, of course.
On TV, it's a mime couple, a man and a woman. And Bob Shields was asked one time, "Where's the best place to study mime?" And his answer was in front of a mirror. If it looks good to you, the audience will buy it. So that's so the mirror taught me a lot of my mime skills. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's another Jones there. There you go, man. That's great. Well, let me see. I was in the Marine Corps. I got out. I said, okay, I'm going to go to Seattle. I played Marine Corps football. I said, I want to go to Seattle and play professional football. And a buddy said, well, maybe you should do a little due diligence, a little investigative work first. You know, just don't show up. You might get your feelings hurt. I said, no, I got this. You know, you're 22, because I went in the Corps at 17. So I was 21, 22, and I showed up and got my feelings hurt. I played a year on their training team called the Iberian Flyers. And so I realized, okay, well, this is professional football. It's not going to be my life. And also, one very important, and this is for anybody pursuing any field, any skill sets, any vocation, it's something you have to love. So I kind of lost my love for football. So the pain sort of took over, I mean, what we go through in Hollywood, I'm not going to say it's pain, but it's challenges. It might be a little more emotional and mental. But football I had enough of, and right when I was making that decision, I read an article on Clint Eastwood. So this was 77. And I said to myself, wow, now he'd already been in the business for 20 years at that point. I said, now I don't know if I can ever accomplish what he has at that point, but let me give it, I think I'm going to go to Hollywood and I'm going to give it a shot. But I gave myself limitations, goals. So what it was, I said, if I progress every 6 months, 6-month intervals, I will add another 6 months. If I found myself stepping back in any 6-month period, then I'm done. So sure enough, every 6 months, I got a great acting teacher. Started going up, we'd have the showcases, representation, managers, agents. I got representation. Started going out on commercial calls. Probably had about 200 or 300 before. And these were the days where you would go to 7, 8, 9, 10 calls a day. You bring your entire wardrobe of what you owned and change in the car, and you just go. And finally, when you get that first job, I think it was a Schaefer beer commercial with Jerry West, one of the Laker NBA players. And from there, that just kind of built your confidence up. And then I started doing these game shows. I did the dating game. Do you remember the dating game? I lost. I think J.P. Morgan was the guest celebrity choosing. So I lost. But evidently, this big producer's family member, Dino De Laurentiis', I think it was his mother-in-law, was watching the episode, and he was casting, looking for Flash Gordon. And I said, I'm watching Dating Game, and there's your Flash Gordon right there. And Dino had this way of casting in those years, likeness. In other words, if you take a picture of the original Flash Gordon, Buster Crabbe, when he was 25, and you take a picture of me at the age of 25, I mean, we look like twins. We really look like twins. So I had that going for me. And then during that audition process, it went on for probably 9 months. He was asking me, well, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm doing this. I sort of embellished the truth. And he said, I said, I'm doing this movie with Blake Edwards and Julie Andrews and Dudley Moore. Nobody knew who Bo Derek was at the time. And he said, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, you got a big part? I said, well, yeah. Now we were filming it, so he really could. He didn't know. So I really embellished that. And at that time in '78, Blake Edwards and Julie Andrews and even Dudley Moore, I mean, they were iconic. Blake Edwards, if you don't know, he did all the Pink Panther movies, right? So he was huge. So I embellished that, and then they sent me to London, and the old-fashioned Hollywood screen test before they had video. They'd roll camera. You'd spend a couple days rehearsing with your scene partner. You get a hair, makeup, the whole deal, and then they shoot this. So I went through that for about another 30 days, and Dino told me when he goes, okay, you got the part. And that just led to, and that was about a 5.5 month deal. Anytime we get a job, right, Doug, for 5.5, 6 months, yeah, I mean, it's a huge blessing. And then to see what's happened, that was 37 years ago, and here we are right here, Doug and I. I went on to do 52 other films, but hundreds of TV shows. So it's been a great career, and I'm in my 60s now, and I just see it. We need older guys. In the movie business.
Your 60s?
No, well, I'll be 62 next month. But yeah,
that's great. That's great.
And I'm just starting to stretch. So maybe it's the stretching that I forgot to ask you. So did you grow up being a contortionist? Or
never did the yoga. Never stretched.
You just take the leg and go, here it is.
Freak of nature. That's what
seriously. Wow. So I'm just starting to stretch, and that's a huge difference for me right now. But yeah, I feel blessed, and thank God. I mean, you guys, the fans. And what's really cool, Ted and Ted 2 opened up this brand new age demographic, which I didn't have before. Before at my table it would be my age or their children, and now it's a grandfather, son, and grandson, grandma, daughter, granddaughter, and I love it. It's wonderful. So that's where I am now. We have a UK film crew has been shadowing me for over a year. They're doing my life story, which is not over yet. Called Life After Flash. That's a documentary. I did another comedy spoof called Enter the Fist. You get a kick out of this. Enter the Fist, the Golden Fleece, and it's a spoof on all the old kung fu movies. Okay, and saw all the great martial artists from the 80s and 90s. And then I did another movie called Head Games. And we have some things in development. And when you hear we have things in development, all that means is you don't have financing yet, okay? So I want to make that clear. Go ahead.
And back to you.
Fantastic. Does anyone in the audience have any questions for either both of the celebrities or individually? Go ahead and raise your hand if you do. This gentleman. Hello. You guys are both amazing in your own ways. What is the most fun you had on a film?
Most and least questions are the hardest, probably because after I've been acting for 30 years. Sam's been at it for longer. It's hard to pick. It's like picking your favorite child,
But there is one. There is a favorite child.
But there is one. Yeah. I would say I'm going to make this a two-parter. The most fun, honestly, I've ever had is a lesser-known thing I did. I was a recurring guest star on a TV show called The Neighbors on ABC a couple of years ago. Hilarious, ridiculous, over-the-top show. I got to be as wide and broad as I wanted to be. We were a bunch of aliens posing as humans in this neighborhood in New Jersey, and a human family moves in among us, and they had no idea who their neighbors were. Us. So I got to play this wacky, over-the-top, tall, lanky fella, and without rubber on my face. So I was able to go get to the snack table and get my own, drinks and snacks without having to have somebody feed me with a straw.
I don't know what you mean by that. Tell them what craft services is.
Craft service snack table. It's like a set up all day with
24/7. You eat anything you want at all times.
On the set, yeah.
You couldn't eat before because you had all the prosthetics.
So I've got stuff. Yeah, I'm in a creature suit. I can't get that for myself, so I have to have somebody hand do it. I might have creature teeth in and like a rubber mask on, finger extensions. So it's like I'll eat later. So that's why I look like I do. Yeah. But The Neighbors, goofy, silly fun. We went to work and laughed every single day. Now, as far as the most like, other fun jobs were like Hocus Pocus, definitely. When you're doing a Disney, Halloween movie with a bunch of kids, it's like you can't help but have laughy, jolly fun. But the most meaningful, like heavy, amazing experience I've ever had artistically was working on Pan's Labyrinth. No question about it. Thank you. The story was just so beautifully written by Guillermo del Toro. I got to play the title character of Pan, the fawn, and the Pale Man as well. And I had no idea. It was a Spanish language film, a smaller budget as far as American movies go. And I had no idea I was going to have the after effect that it has to this day. This is our 10th anniversary, and they will be releasing this fall in October. The Criterion Collection will be re-releasing the movie with new bonus features that I just did an interview for that recently. So I have that to look forward to. And Guillermo del Toro, of course, with his commentaries, they're just brilliant to listen to. So that was the most meaningful. And when you're on the red carpet at the Oscars, representing that movie that has 6 nominations, none of mine, of course, but I was there, and you're being interviewed by Joan Rivers on TV, you realize that something's changed. You know, that it's a little different now, and we're in a new ballgame. So that was a page-turning, life-changing movie for me that I've reaped the benefits from ever since. So that's it for me.
It's wonderful. And mine's a two-parter too, a two-parter as well. Well, I would think I'd like to say The Highwayman. The Highwayman was, and I'll tell you why Flash Gordon wasn't. Flash Gordon is now. It's funny. During the making of Flash Gordon, I mean, I didn't have time really to breathe. My greatest moment daily was being able to go to the bathroom. Okay? Seriously. I mean, you're shooting the scene, okay, and they literally grab you, sometimes carry you. You go outside, you got to rehearse with the bullwhip artist. You got to learn to use a bullwhip. Okay, then they grab you again. They actually pull you because they got the they got the comms in their ears, the radios. They like, we need them now. You go to the next set, you rehearse that scene, shoot it. They pull you, and I mean it was 4 a.m. Get up, work out, get in makeup at 6:30. It's the whole deal. You know this. So now I've probably seen Flash Gordon maybe 9 times. And only because I'm invited to do screenings. I'd show up with you guys. We're at a big theater. And sometimes I get to commentate. Actually during which is that's challenging. You should try that sometime. Because you don't want to, you want the audience to hear the dialogue, so you have to speak. Anyway, I'm starting to enjoy it now. Because back then it was work, pressure, and it's your first big movie, and you realize, let me see, the director who just did 1.5 years of pre-production, he just walked off. The new director just came in 2 weeks before filming. I better be prepared and just focus on my task at hand. So it was high pressure for me. So I'm now starting to enjoy it by sitting back and watching it with you guys, and I'm discovering some crazy things, but visually it's wonderful. The Highwayman TV series was the most fun to do at the time because we were in Arizona in 1988. We were in Phoenix and Scottsdale, the great outdoors of Arizona for 6 months. I mean, come on. Day shoots, night shoots. It was just incredible. And I got to dress up like Mel Gibson in Road Warrior, wore that black leather, carried that gigantic sawed-off shotgun on my leg, and drove this big truck with all these special effects. I mean, are you kidding me? I was like a little kid, man, playing soldier. It was wonderful.
You said do not like to watch yourself. You said you never watched Flash Gordon until more recently.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm real hard on myself. Even when I saw it at the premiere, I'm looking at it. It's when we do a project, it's hard for us to be objective. We have to disassociate ourselves. We got to say, okay, I've never seen this movie before. I know nothing about it. Oh, that's me. And now I got to be objective. I got to really look at this. So when I first saw it, I said, okay, now are they being funny? Okay, that's camp. Those special effects are kind of, and am I supposed to laugh? Or are they being serious? So you really put and then of course, as I'm looking at myself, I'm saying, oh gosh, I mean, I could have done better on that take, am I right?
Totally. I'm very self-analytical, yes, when I watch myself, but I watch everything I'm in, so I've learned from it, for sure, yeah. But there's some people, like some actors, that don't watch anything they've ever been in.
Rarely. I mean, friends will call me and say, hey, turn on HBO, man, you're in My Chauffeur, or you're in, whatever, this action movie. I said, no, that's okay, I'm out, I'm at a ball game with my kids, I'm fine,
Okay.
Any more questions?
This is like the Academy Awards. Okay, come on down. Okay, 40 seconds later, you're on stage.
For Doug Jones?
Yes.
Well, yeah.
I know you get the roles for your non-human roles. And I know you've appeared as a human character, but have you ever gotten someone who asked you to appear because
Right, yes. More so now than ever before, right. I established my niche and I got kind of pigeonholed as a guy who wears rubber suits and, you know, he's the monster man. But having a pigeonhole is not such a curse always. It gets you a name as something. It means you're hireable as something. So I enjoyed the pigeonhole and I'm still in it, but I've been able to step outside of it many, many times. Because some director or producer that might have worked with me on another project knows me personally and would say, oh, you know, we got this quirky doctor role, or this weird lawyer, or this detective guy who's like on cocaine, or whatever, that we'd love for you to play. So I, you know, I'll get cast because of those kind of decisions more now than ever before, which I'm really enjoying. Now that I'm 56 myself now, so wearing crazy like monster suits on stilts and going you know, I don't know how long I can. So we'll see.
Hello. Now that you both have like established careers, is there any role that you really, really wanted to play that you just wish that you could?
Well, it's a great question. I've thought about that a lot. What's really cool with the documentary I'm doing, it's the first time I've had a platform to say and do whatever I wanted to do without the guidelines and restrictions of a studio or a network. And I'd like to do that in a role, you know, but usually when, all these roles out there, you're kind of restricted because there's a script, you know, there's a script. But I'll turn it over to you. But that's how I feel about that. I like to. I really love improvising, and it gets me in trouble a lot because there's a script. You know, there's a script. But I really, after doing this documentary, the freedom for me just opened up. But again, that's why we're professionals. You know, everybody has. The script is really everything for us. And sometimes, now you have the writer's vision, you have the director's vision, you have the producer's vision, and sometimes that can be very challenging and disconcerting, trying to please everybody. But we really need, as artists, professionals, we really need to be true to the script, and I have to be careful about improvising. But when Seth called me to do, to say, hey, I want you to play yourself in my movie about this cute little teddy bear. Well, after I read the script, I said, that's not a cute little teddy bear. That's a nasty little thing. Okay, that's a nasty little thing, man. Okay. And I said, now, after reading the script, what do you mean myself? This is pieces and parts of me, but this, of course, I partied in the 80s, okay? But this is not all of me. So that was a challenge. That was a challenge for me as well. So I had to really, at one point, because he wrote this 3-page monologue for me about the benefits of doing all these hardcore narcotics. And I said, Seth, I got a big fan base with Flash Gordon, with all the Flash Gordon fans, and a lot of youth. And I said, I don't want to, and I know it's a part. And I said, I don't really want to do a 3-page monologue promoting doing hard narcotics. And he said, well, Universal said take it or leave it. So what do? First thing I do when I'm faced with something like that, especially, this was the biggest movie I've done in quite a few years. The Offer, right? And first thing I do always when I can't figure things out is I pray about it.
I'm in church.
Yeah, amen. And I go straight to my wife. And I said, honey, what do you want to do? And she said, well, let's pray about it. We prayed about it. And she said, you know what? Just tell him yes. And I got this great feeling that's not going to happen. So a couple of days later, I show up on the set. Early morning, Seth comes running to me with his eyes real big and mouth open. He goes, you're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it. What? Universal just called and they deleted your 3-page monologue. And when you're walking in faith, the first thing you do is where you say, thank God. But then you want to sort of challenge faith and say, well, what happened, Seth? Tell me what. There was no need to ask him what happened. We know what happened. Okay. Anyway, that's a long answer to your question.
Awesome. Let's see. having played so many, I have such a myriad of characters under crazy makeups. I've played such a wide range of things. I get asked this a lot. Is there one character I haven't played that I would love to? Another two-parter. One is I would love to play a white-winged benevolent angel in something. I played a dark angel. I was the angel of death in Hellboy 2. Not the same feeling. I'd like to be like an angel who brings hope and light and a message from above. Maybe even something quirky like a Clarence from It's a Wonderful Life, right? You don't really see the wings, but he's kind of a goofy character actor. I'm getting to that stage. So that's one. And the other one is actually is a role that I wanted to play for decades that I actually got to recently. It's not out yet, but I've always wanted to play a redo of Nosferatu. So we did. The same director who we revived an old silent film called The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Okay. Oh, you'll love that. I know. Yeah. Well, we made it into a talkie, but it still looks very much like the silent film. Even using pieces of the original silent film, he created matte shots off of the original Cabinet of Dr. Caligari movie by digitally collecting all the information that was on those sets and in images and removing the actors from that picture, filming us on green screen and plopping us into the old movie. Wow. So we did the same process with Nosferatu. So you will see pieces of the old classic movie with us in it. I play the title character, Count Orlok, and my love interest, or the object of my desire, the young lady who I'm after, the wife of someone else, is played by Sarah Carter, who was Maggie on Falling Skies. And she's in the movie because I suggested her. Okay, I'm going to take credit for that. So no, she was just wonderful to work with. And so that's hopefully going to be coming out next spring. We still have another couple days of pickup shots to do, so it's still in process and post-production right now. So I'm very excited about that. Thank you for asking.
That's great. I just want to do a follow-up. I always had this fear of doing Shakespeare. I never did Shakespeare. So I went back to acting class in my 30s. I had this great teacher named David Beard. He came from Wisdom Bridge out of Chicago. And he's the kind of guy, I don't care if you're acting for one day or for 30 years, he can get magic out of you. So it came time, we were doing a scene study class, and he said, Sam, I want you to do Shakespeare. I went, I'm the oldest guy in acting class, when you're in your 30s, and anyway, so he said, well, why? I said, I just fear it, man. The iambic pentameter, the beats, the dialogue. He said, I'll tell you what, how about if you stick to the words, if you stick to the iambic pentameter, don't improvise with the words, you can do it any way you want. And I said, you mean I could do it as a cowboy? He said, yeah. I could do it as a mafioso, hitman? Yeah. So I got with my scene partner, and we did the first time as a couple of mafia guys, right? And it just opened me up. I didn't improvise any dialogue, and it opened me up and freed me up to do. I said, my gosh, if I could do this, of course, very few times they're going to ask me to do it as a cowboy or as a mob boss, right? But it freed me up and it really built my confidence at that point. And the same thing happened to me the first time I ever stepped on stage back in '77. It was for a sitcom called Co-Ed Fever. Heather Locklear, David Keith, way back then. We were all babies. And I was preparing, it was 3 cameras sitcom, so it's live audience, all that. And I was just shaking in the back, and it's amazing. And this is for anybody, young, middle-aged, or old, if you're faced with a new challenge these voices keep telling you, you can't do this, you're going to fail. Well, this is where I came to that crossroads in my life. And I'm waiting to go on, and those voices are saying, you need to tell the director that you're sick, okay? And then this other voice came in from over here, and this voice said, if you make up that excuse now, you'll be making up excuses like this the rest of your life. And then the voice followed up and said, just go out there and make a fool of yourself. And I went out there and I started to talk, and I stuttered a little bit, big deal. But guess what? And I did it. And I never had, we get a little nervous in front of cameras. Sure, I'll admit that even now. But that fear factor on, no, man, just go for it. So anybody who's hearing these voices, you tell those voices to get the out of here, all right? And just know that you can do it. And, you know, you may fail a little bit, you may stumble, you may stutter, but big deal, follow through with it. Does that make sense? Come on now. Yes.
Time for one more?
Yeah, and we love your teeth. Yeah, look at this.
I have a question for Doug Jones. I remember watching the Hellboy animated movies. I wanted to know what was it like to do just the voice acting and not have like a costume or anything.
Right. You've also done voice acting, yes, Sam? Voiceover work?
Well, actually, I've looped a lot of movies where we didn't shoot sound, or they lost the soundtrack. Yeah.
Yeah. So voice work, when you're going into a sound studio just to do to voice a character that they're going to animate later, you can't. You just basically you have one drawing of that's what your character is going to look like, but he's not moving yet. It's a different animal. It's different than walking into a makeup trailer and going through a 5-hour makeup process, right? So it's much easier to stand in front of one of these and go, "Yes, mother," and you're done. You know, that's awesome. Right? So it's easier, but you do have to enlist your imagination so much more to envision the world you're playing in and the other characters too. You know, when we're acting on film, we have each other to play off of because we're filming the scene together. In voiceover work, you film one at a time, or you record one at a time. So you do all of your dialogue by yourself in a closed little room with headphones on, just kind of going through one line at a time. The director might have you do that same line 16 different ways, like, you know, emphasize the word cheese more, or whatever, right? So it's much more tedious and more isolating. But when it all comes together and edited together, you see a full story with the full visual and everything. So you do have to use your imagination to put yourself into that world like it's playing out in front of you. You know, good question.
All right. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but let's hear it for the Joneses.
So we'll see you at the table. All right, we'll see you at our tables. We'll be here till. Tell them what time you're leaving.
I'm here till 3 o'clock today.
3 o'clock. I'll be here till 5:15. I think. All right, guys. Thank you very much.